Hello and welcome to the Kocarek YouTube channel. Today, we will show you how to allow your conversation designers to write elegant copy for your Cognigy AI agent and expand Cognigy AI's standard capabilities. Imagine you run an online bicycle shop. To help customers find the right bikes and parts, you set out to develop a chatbot for your website, which will take queries and redirect traffic to desired items. This means that your bot needs to know which items you have on sale and how to differentiate between them in the chat messages the user sends in. The bot should then also be able to show the user what it understood and present the appropriate outcome. It could look something like this. I need a new bike bell. Welcome to my bicycle shop. I have a great selection of bike bells. Here, have a look. The bot correctly recognized the query and repeated it back to the user. This example works particularly great in English because of the relatively simple inflection rules for nouns, adding an S. However, if we were to simply translate this chatbot example to German, we would not be so lucky. Depending on the item the user asks for, there are different inflection rules to get to the plural form. Thus, because of technical limitations in many platforms and a lack in linguistic expertise, many chatbot developers opt for a less elegant solution. Sie suchen also Klingel. So you're looking for bike bell. While the user can verify that the query has been understood, it just sounds like the bot is parroting back whatever the user said. This is not a dialogue anyone would call engaging. You can try this yourself. Anytime a colleague or friend asks you about a topic, reply back, "So you want to talk about topic?" Except don't actually do that, or you'll find yourself with no one left to talk to. Same goes for your chatbot. After all, you want your users to engage with it, not just once, but repeatedly, every time they visit your bike shop. So instead, its reply should look something like this. Ich habe eine große Auswahl an Klingeln. Sehen Sie hier. And ideally, you want it to vary its reply, so the likelihood of receiving the same style of message twice is minimized upon repeat queries. So how do we achieve this outcome? Thanks to Cognigy's many built-in features, the basic setup is rather easy. First, we create a lexicon of key phrases representing all the items on sale. For this demonstration, we will keep it short, but you can set up as many key phrases for your bot as you need. We give these items the slot tag item, with which we can call them later in our flow. Next, we design our flow and the intents. The flow, again, for demonstration purposes, is rather simple, but you can apply what I will show you here to all kinds of intricate flows. In the NLU tab, we also set up a purchase item intent and add all of our items as variable placeholders. Other than simply matching the user input to the right intent, this also does one other very useful thing. Because you train the NLU model with these item placeholders, the next time you add more items to your virtual shelves and update the lexicon accordingly, all you need to do is retrain the model and it will automatically work with all the new items you added. You won't need to add more example sentences that include these new items. Okay, with all that taken care of, we can start honing in on crafting a great reply message to the intent we just built. In an English bot, this can be simply done by using Cognigy script in your say node. Here we tell Cognigy that it should insert whatever key phrase it recognized. The desired string is stored in the first item in the list of items in the slot object of the input. We simply add an S at the end to make the key phrase into a plural. If you run into any issues, check the Info tab in the chat widget. Here you can inspect if the content you're trying to access was correctly recognized in the input and if the data structure matches that of your Cognigy script. Alright, so how do we get this to work in German then? First, we need to create a German agent. With the new Cognigy 4.0 feature, this has never been easier. Simply go to Manage Localization and add a new locale for German. We now need to localize each of the nodes that output any text, as well as our intents. We also need to create a German copy of our items lexicon and make sure it's attached to the German version of our agent. Finally, we just need to train the NLU. But what about the reply message? We cannot hardcode the plural endings in the string as they are different for each of the nouns. Even worse, some nouns also have a change in vowel in the stem of the word. Even if we want to craft a message in the singular form, we are also out of luck. There, we would have to inflect the indefinite article, eine, according to gender and case. How can we even begin to account for all of this variation? The key ingredient to our solution is Cognigy's lexicon functionality, which we've already used to great effect in recognizing what the user is looking for. Another feature, however, is that they allow you to attach metadata to each lexicon entry. You could use it to store basic information about products such as their size, technical specs, etc., but that stuff should ideally be pulled from a live database anyway. Instead, we can use the JSON structured data to add grammatical information to each key phrase. Depending on the language and the overall structure of the bot, we can use functional names such as nom-sing for nominative singular, and then save the realization of the key phrase in the grammatical context. For German, I also added a gender attribute, which will tell the code what grammatical gender the noun has. For a reminder, German has 3 grammatical genders, masculine, feminine, and neuter. Once we enriched our data with all the necessary grammatical information, we need to create unique replies where we can slot in those predefined realizations. So instead of calling the ci.slots.item 0 key phrase, we can instead call ci.slots.item 0 data dative plural, for example. While this can be done with a nested tree of multiple if and say nodes, it clutters the graphical interface and makes showcasing it in a tutorial a lot more difficult. More importantly though, if your bot is multilingual, this also is not recommended because the structure of the nested tree may differ somewhat from language to language, and the main language of the agent predetermines the structure for all localizations. So instead, we recommend you use code nodes. No, don't go yet. I will quickly go over the code you need. If you do not know how to code and don't want to know, you can simply copy the code I used, which I will make available to you in the description of this video. If you're interested in the exact inner workings of the code, I have prepared a short video discussing it line by line. Alright, where were we? Right, coding. One of the major advantages that Cognigy has is the option to write your own code anywhere in the flow you like, and save and amend data on the fly. Simply select Code Node and open it up. Anything that happens in the graphical interface of Cognigy can be replicated with code. So, instead of sending a message to the user with a say node, we can build our own using just these 2 to 3 lines of code. Simply said, we craft a reply by concatenating strings together and then output the finished message as a bot reply. This looks simple enough, but how about the German? This is the final code, with variation, 3 variants to be exact. Click the iCard at the top right now to be taken to a video explaining it line by line. In short, this code does 3 things. First, it stores an intro and an outro for each of the 3 reply variants in a variable. Second, it combines the intro, outro, the appropriate form of the noun, and, in the case of the singular, the corresponding indefinite article forms into a variable for each reply. Third, it randomly picks one of these 3 replies to send to the user. Naturally, you can add as many variants as you like here. Just make sure to number and name them clearly so you don't get them mixed up. When we test the bot now, we will get different replies at random, but each of them will be grammatically correct and they won't sound robotic and stiff. And that's it. Once you have designed your first code node using this basic template, you can easily copy-paste it into different positions in your flow to replicate the results for different scenarios. Going forward, you simply need to maintain the lexica and make sure that each key phrase you add also has all the grammatical information filled out. A quick side note, in this tutorial I used a single central code node, but of course you could split it up into one code node where the actual processing takes place, where the indefinite article gets stored into a context variable, and then you call a normal say node where you combine the actual text with the variables. In my video about the code node and the specifics of the code, I go into more detail as to why I think code node is superior in these instances. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and do not hesitate to call us if you need help realizing your very own chatbot project. Thank you for watching.